Listo, ya inicié. Bienvenidos a todos. Hoy vamos a presentar a un invitado y bueno, y a otro que ya conocen. Panameño, lindo, hermoso, fachero de naranja. Y otro señor que ahora se va a presentar. Así que, todo tuyo, señor Edu.
Okay, first of all, your presentation, your name, your nickname in Online Soccer Manager, your age, your occupation, are you single or married, and what is your favorite team?
Okay, so my name is Roger. So I think in OSM, a lot of people call me Cosmo because my in-game OSM nickname is Cosmo QD.
Como Guzi.
So, yep. So my age this year coming to 30 years old this year lah. Yeah, coming to 30 years old. Then occupation, I'm actually an accountant. So working in a freight forwarding shipping industry lah. Yeah. So, and favorite team Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea.
¿Y en Singapur?
No, not in Singapore. Singapore got in Singapore we don't watch our Singapore Premier League.
No
We watch the
football.
English Premier League.
No soccer, no
Football,
soccer.
Yes, have soccer but no good. No one watch. Singapore soccer standard or football standard too low.
¿Querés traducir más o menos, Edu?
Sí, dice que su nombre es Roger, pero que todo el mundo lo llama por nombre Cosmo, y que en el juego se llama Cosmo Cutie, y que recién este año cumple 30 años, y que su favorito equipo se puede ver que es el Chelsea, y que en Singapur por lo general como que el fútbol no se les da.
Claro, es
Que van
como,
a estar-
es como el fútbol en Panamá.
Sí, por lo general. Aunque hoy estamos en la Copa América.
No, hoy está en la Copa América, sí. Sí.
Hoy jugamos.
Eso es verdad. Ahora, che, yo no tengo las preguntas de Giller, ¿eh?
A mí me la dejó.
Sí, si querés seguir, bueno, yo comento boludeces.
Vale. He is very mad, very crazy.
No worries, I already expected this. You don't want me about Pato being crazy in the interview.
Yeah.
I'm completely prepared for it.
Okay, the
What?
next question.
Pará, I'm waiting. ¿Qué dijo?
Que ese que se dio cuenta que no estás bien de la cabeza.
¿Que no estoy viendo qué?
No estás bien de la cabeza.
¿Qué cabeza, boludo? ¿Esta cabeza?
¿Sí?
¿Cómo
La
no?
otra.
¿Me saco el sombrero?
Ah,
¿De qué habla, boludo?
que estás loco, que no estás bien de la cabeza.
¡Ah! ¡Que estoy loco! ¡Ah, no! No, decirle que no, es todo parte del show.
Yes, he is a part of the show.
I will gladly be part of the show.
¿Cómo?
So let's enjoy this interview.
Yes.
Oh, the sunglasses are out. The sunglasses.
Yeah, the sunglasses are very cool. The next question is a brief summary of your career in Online Soccer Manager.
Actually, I created the account back in 2007. I think that was when I was still 13 years old. So I played for a while. I think back then it was called Online Football Manager and not OSM. So I think I played for a while then for 2 years in public league, and I think it was quite boring and repetitive. So I sort of stopped playing around maybe 6 years until I was in Korea for exchange and it was quite bored. So I went to reinstall the application, play, and then that's when I realized that there was this crew. So I was very interested to see what is this crew. So I went to forum, I looked for a crew to join. Then subsequently, I think in maybe late 2019 or I joined late 2018 or late 2019. I couldn't really remember. I joined the championship, CAP. So then, so I think CAP was on the rise for quite a while, and then subsequently, people retiring, people leaving the crew, And then after we merged with good looking Imperium, the crew with Whooper and Maris previously. So after we merged, then we sort of like see a downfall towards our form, and subsequently, you know, I requested out of cap, and eventually I joined Revenge in now late 2021. Yeah. So up till now, you know, still in Revenge. Yeah. And now, like, you know, sort of a captain in Revenge, helping, you know, Rafael Mas to, you know, do up all the analyses, handle the social media. Yeah. So throughout my OSM career, it has been quite an interesting one, and I'm still like enjoying the game, enjoying winning with the crew. Yeah.
Yes. Bueno, básicamente dice que empezó a jugar OSM desde 2007, buscando juegos de Football Manager, pero que empezó jugando, o sea, ligas de la Premier League, pero que hubo un tiempo que, o sea, lo dejaba, buscaba otros juegos de Football Manager,
Claro.
y no fue hasta 2019 que entró lo que es al competitivo.
Tarde, ¿eh?
Sí. Empezó en un grupo llamado The Championship, que no The Championship crew is
The championship.
Yeah,
The
it's
championship crew.
for Idios Assassins, no?
Correct, yeah. So after I left, right? So the funny thing is about this championship crew, because previously the crew boss was Drubo, and after I think Drubo was very inactive. So actually everything was handled by this captain called Zoo Babies. Yeah.
Mhm.
So these Zoo Babies, you know, like, you know, I told him that I'm leaving the championship because, you know, people are not setting tactics, people are not motivated, people are not active, we are losing all of our apps better. In CCW, we are not doing well as well. So I told Zoo Baby that I wanted out, and the funny thing is he told me not to join Idios Assassin. So I went to join Revenge, and he went to ask Revenge for a merger. He went to ask Revenge whether does Revenge want to merge with the championship. So I think back then Motenski and Rafael Mas, they rejected the merger, and 2 days later he merged with like Idios Assassin after asking me not to join Idios Assassin. So it's quite hilarious and quite funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the Crew Championship in 2021 has the top 10 of in Up Battle. Yeah, I remember. Bueno, como decía, entró en el grupo en 2019, había entrado en el grupo de Championship, pero con el pasar de los años, como que el grupo estaba quedando inactivo, muchos managers buenos se estaban yendo, y como estaba diciendo, la gente como que no estaba muy motivada con lo que era el juego.
Lo que pasa siempre.
Sí, por lo general.
Sí.
Y que bueno, al final este grupo se terminó lo que es uniendo con Idios Assassins. Literalmente pasó a ser lo que era ese grupo, pasó a ser la cantera de Idios Assassins. Y él en 2021 fue que entró a Revenge. Dice que ahora que está súper contento de
Con Rafael.
ahí, está muy cómodo, que Rafael Mas, que se va muy bien con Rafael Mas, que lo considera como un hermano, y nada, que está muy contento en Revenge.
Decirle que Pato Carve es mejor que Rafael.
Pato Carp, he said Pato Carp is much better than Rafael Mas.
Oh, anytime, you know, someone is usable. I think anytime, as long as anyone is committed to the game, build their squad properly, you know, play friendlies, I think anyone can beat anyone at any certain point of time. Yeah. To me, there is no really best manager or good manager. The fine line between a good manager and a not good manager, is just the commitment towards the game, you know. Yeah. And I'm sure that you guys, South American, North American, you guys, I see, have great commitment to the game. Yeah. And that's what I really love about your region, the South American region, because you guys are like very, very committed to the game.
Yes. Que puede ser porque ahora mismo en el juego cualquiera le puede ganar a cualquiera, y que también ahora mismo en Sudamérica, en la comunidad hispana, hay muchos managers muy buenos y con mucho nivel.
Es verdad. Sí, es verdad. Está todo muy parejo.
Sí.
Es verdad. ¿Qué lo parió? ¿Cómo se llama? Pará, tenía una pregunta. Preguntale vota con él, ¿no? Sí, vota en Revenge.
Sí.
Sí, boludo, el otro día te pregunté, me
Eh,
pelotudearon ahí, me dijeron, que no estoy, que... Pajero. Preguntale, ¿ustedes ya jugaron juntos? Eso preguntar.
eh, o sea, sobre el ambiente en Revenge.
Sí, el ambiente es en Revenge.
How is the atmosphere in Revenge? Who is the funny? Who fights? Who makes the table? Who puts order? Who is the quiet? And which of that of all those chapters are you?
Oh, so which characteristic am I, in Revenge? Actually, okay, there are a lot of questions asked here, so I think I'll try to answer them one by one. So I think Revenge as an atmosphere, I think we are very like united. And if let's say that if someone like come against us, to say something bad about us, do not respect us as an opponent, then usually we will be very motivated, and then we will try to win the game, to prove people wrong, to shut their mouth up. So in as a whole, for the crew itself, I think we are very united as well. I think back then there maybe have some fights between members, but I think probably some of the members have actually like left Revenge. So now Revenge is like more united, and everyone take orders directly like from Rafael Mas. So whoever who planned the lineup, everything is done by Rafael Mas. But I'm actually helping him by preparing the member schedule on a monthly basis. Yeah. So for who prepare the tables and who provide the Excel for collating the score again for us and against opponents, that will be me. Yeah. Previously, I think it was done by Molten Ski, who is an absolute legend in Revenge. But after he left, there was 1 year which there was nobody collating all of this information. So then we were sort of at a junction whereby we were actually not doing very well in the year 2023, because 2022 was the our year of success. We won like multiple championships such as QGL, CCW, and even like CC. In 2022, we were very successful, and we even reached the first in world ranking in OSM apps battle, which they call it the new style battle. Yeah. So then after Motensky left and retired, then slowly I'm taking up all of these things. So the noisy one, are always the Italians. I think like they are very sort of, I think, a bit rowdy, but rowdy in a good sense, like in a comical way. I think the funniest in the crew, maybe I would say, is like one Luca, which I think his in-game nickname is Mr. Orozo Kanaya. I think he's the funniest one in the crew. And quiet, I don't see much people, being quiet. Maybe I would think is Dija. Dija is maybe the much quieter one in the crew. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
But,
I agree.
Yeah.
Dida, ¿no?
Bueno,
Dija Whitman from the
Dija
Serbia
Whitman.
national team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bueno,
But other than that, I think yes. But other than that, I think everyone, as long as we are also trying to do something to liven up the mood. So like recently, like we suggested, like me, I suggested to Rafael, oh, the Euros is coming, so maybe let's have a vote to see who win, and then eventually, like we will just like provide boss coins for the ultimate like predictor to see who win the Euro. So I think like these are all the activities that we do to try to make the crew, more united. Yeah.
Yes. Bueno, en resumidas cuentas dice que Revenge es un grupo muy unido, que tratan de comunicarse mucho entre sí, que él de todos los se caracteriza por ser alguien que motiva a los demás a darlo todo, a que haya más comunicación en el grupo, y que bueno, que decir que es un grupo muy unido, aunque a veces cuando se pierde puede generar algunas discusiones, y que sí, y que el que pone orden es más que obvio que es Rafael Mas, que la parte de lo que son las tablas y los Excel se encarga él.
¿Cómo?
Sí. Y que el gracioso del grupo es Gianluca, que es Mr. Oronsocana en el juego. Y que el que es así, por así decirlo, más callado, yo creo que se escuchó que es Dija Whitman de Serbia.
Mirá vos.
Y que no, que por lo general Revenge es un grupo bastante unido.
Sí, está bueno, está bueno. Preguntale cómo consigue monedas, ya que estamos ahí justo.
How You Got Boss Coins y Online Soccer Manager.
Just spend money to buy, you know.
To pay?
Every time there's an offer, 20%. So I think usually the one most expensive is I think Euro 99.99. So it's like 13.5k boss coins. But every time we will wait for the offer. Like now there's an offer 20% much more. So we'll wait until like there's a 16.2 thousand boss coins for the Euro 99.99. Then I will just purchase that. Yeah, because I think like ultimately there's no for me, because I'm usually like quite busy, then there's no time for me to actually like farm coins with other offers, like playing other games. So I enjoy the game, so I'm willing to pay to get the boss coin. And boss coins are very important, especially like with the current meta of the game, we need to keep purchasing 100 plus scout. So the boss coin really take up a lot. So I will just spend.
It's very important.
Yeah, I'll just spend my own money to change to boss
Sí,
coin.
si no, no se puede jugar.
Ok, dice que nada, que él a cada rato está comprando boss coins porque los coins se van súper rápido, que quizás antes
Llama.
tenía un poco más, pero que ahora mismo, aunque lo único que hace es comprar, porque juega dijo en iOS, que es iPhone, y que en iPhones no se puede, como por así decirlo, jugar juegos, pues. Y que nada, que cada rato tiene que estar comprando coins.
¿Qué piensa la mujer cuando llega el resumen de la tarjeta y ve boss coin, boss coin, boss coin? Preguntale a ver.
What think your wife when she sees the credit card when you buy the boss coins?
No, she doesn't check my credit card. I think whatever I earn, I think I have the rights to spend in whatever. I think for females, they are also spending the things they like in makeups, in maybe other things. I'm just spending coins for the game, which I enjoy. I think it's perfectly okay. All boys most boys like to game. OSM is a game, so I'm actually not playing other games, other PC games, but just solely OSM only. Because right now, OSM very important part of my life.
Es muy importante lo sé.
Dice que por suerte no le ve la tarjeta de crédito, pero que si lo viera no había ningún problema porque al final es su dinero.
Está
Y que
bien.
al final él es feliz gastando dinero en Online Soccer Manager. Y que como dice, para él OSM es más importante que ella.
Está bien, OSM, wife.
Wife.
OSM, wife. Family, OSM, wife, family. Está bien.
Dice, aquí te pregunta Gilder que le dejó pendiente una invitación o por si logró conseguir dónde conectarse. Que me deje pendiente una invitación o por si logro conseguir dónde conectarme.
Listo. Ahí le llamo.
Morales, the guy who asked the few days, now not have internet.
I know. He say he don't have now have internet or now don't have internet.
No,
he have internet already.
He is from Venezuela and the situation of this country now is very, very hard.
But we are adding him into the call because he said that he cannot use phone, otherwise the very expensive and the data will run out very fast.
Yes.
Yeah. But I saw that Pato added him to the call right now.
Sí, ya le llamé, pero no.
Okay.
No
atiende.
I think it's still not okay. Yeah.
Es porque
I told him, any other time, if he wanted to have an interview again, I'm always open for it.
Sí.
¿Qué dijo?
Que nada, que en la entrevista que sí que dio cuenta que está entrando, pero que no va a poder.
Sí, no va a poder. No va a poder porque quedó fuera de la Copa América, decirle. Y le cortaron el internet a Venezuela.
Gilder, he will not be able to because yesterday Venezuela has been eliminated in the Copa America. by Canada.
Yeah. Well, you know, but the who is that? The striker, the Solomon Rondon scored
Ramon
a very
Rondon.
beautiful goal.
He played in the Premier League.
Yeah. I think last time he played with West Bromwich Albion. Yeah.
Yes.
He in the Copa America against Canada scored a beautiful chip over the goalkeeper. I'm not sure whether you guys see the match yet. Yeah.
Sí.
So Panama will be playing today, right?
Today, yes, versus Colombia.
Yeah. All the best, all the best.
Colombia.
Yeah.
I hope,
Colombia.
I hope today win in Colombia in the quarterfinals. I hope today win it.
You guys have actually like beaten the United States of America, so I think like
Yes.
great achievement. I think the ball is round, you know, like anything can happen. And I believe like
Yes.
Panama can beat Colombia, even though Colombia has a lot of football talents.
Sí.
Yes,
Yeah.
have very good players, yes.
Colombia.
Dice que
Argentina,
Argentina,
Messi miss penalty.
yes. Bueno, dice que sí, que vio el juego de Venezuela ayer, que vio el golazo de Salomón Rondón, que
Ah.
cómo se la picó
Golazo.
al portero y que Canadá, pero que Canadá jugó muy bien y que bueno, que Panamá la va a tener difícil con Colombia,
Está difícil.
pero que cualquier cosa puede pasar, que la bola es redonda, que le pudimos ganar a Estados Unidos y que
Sí.
puede pasar de nuevo.
Sí.
Y
Sí,
que
se puede.
Messi, y que, nada, que también vio cómo falló el penalti Messi, pero que es el mejor de la historia.
Sí. Está todo calculado. Está todo calculado. La que vos quieras nomás, Edu. Seguí con
Le
algo.
pregunto. What is the classic rival of Revenge?
Revenge usually I think is our main rivals usually I would say is the Italian crews. I think the Italian crew recently EMT is really very strong. They went on to the finals of WCC and eventually lost out to Krupuk, and now I think ECC they are really dominating the whole competition. Yeah, so you know we had an average position of 2.8. So I thought we were pretty much secured for first place in the CC round 1, but then they came back with 2 finishing first place and eventually overtaking us, and right now I think they're on a very good form. So historically, EMT is always one of our rival in the Italian community. Yeah, I think this was also brought out by our previous member Constantine as well. Trias in this EMT is one of our main rival. Then other tournament maybe for CCW you will usually be Idios SSC. Yeah. So CCW is one which we always want to win because we have won it 9 or 10 times now. So actually we are trying to it's been some time, I think 2 or 3 seasons since we have won it. I think the last we played was tied on points with Idios Assassin, but then they say that head-to-head wise we lost out to them, and eventually they should be the only winner instead of a dual champion. So yeah, so Idios is one of our main rivals. But other than that, in the game of OSM, anyone can beat anyone if they are on form. Like for example, in WCC we lost out to Balompi Latino. Yeah. So we can always like never expect to win. We want to win every game, but sometimes things doesn't go our way. So if things doesn't go our way, we will reset and we will try harder next round, and hopefully we can win it. Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say the classic rival, the clone.
The clan is it? Or the clan? I think. Yeah, I think Revenge. I don't know much about the history, between Rafael Mas, Juan Luca, and the with the clan. Yeah, I think that there is some like bad blood and history between these two crews, which I'm not really aware of. Yeah, but in general, I think most of the Italian crews, I don't think that they really like favor Revenge. You see, in the Italian national team, we don't see any Revenge players at all, despite us, being one of the best crews in Italy or in the world. Yeah.
Yes. Bueno, dice que en la comunidad hispana hay grupos muy fuertes pero ahora mismo debería como un clásico rival sería a Elements Italians Do It Better, que bueno, que clasificaron a semifinales de WCC, creo que dijo eso. Y
Sí,
también que ahora
MT, ¿no?
mismo
Es MT.
MT,
Sí, sí, sí.
MIT, yes. Y que también ahora mismo en CC están imparables, que ahora mismo la competencia entre el primer lugar está entre Revenge y Elements, que ellos ahora mismo tienen a dos en primer lugar en 4 ligas, y que también en WCC diría internacionalmente Balompié Latino, que no se esperaba que en ese grupo habría mucho nivel y que fue una batalla muy difícil, que no se lo esperaban y que les sorprendió un poco el nivel que tenían estos chicos de Balompié Latino, ya que no los tenía
Claro, registrado.
registrados. Y yo le pregunté que yo pensaba que el rival era de Clan, o como ellos le dicen, Clon. Pero es que literalmente la guerra la tienen con Rafael Mas, con Mr. Bronzocana y con los otros managers italianos de Revenge, ya que el seleccionador de Italia forma parte de ese grupo y no quiere como convocar a los italianos de Revenge a la selección de Italia.
Qué raro, ¿eh?
Sí,
Bien. Por eso Italia no llega tan lejos, ¿viste? Todo tiene un porqué, boludo.
sí.
Por eso Argentina ganó, Chile. Por eso Argentina ganó.
For that Argentina win beat Italy.
Argentina beat
Yeah, was
you.
it
La-
the reason, but the reason, but Italia has not arriving the Italian manners of revenge. That it was the reason because Argentina beat Italians.
Argentina beat Italy. You mean when? The WNC or?
en el mundial, en el
in,
mundial.
in the World Nations Cup.
The One Nations Cup, I think Italy was the one being eliminated by Australia, right? I think, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah,
I believe
I
the last
remember.
One Nation Cup, we eliminate them. We eliminate Iran in a round of 16. After that, we eliminate Italy quite convincingly in the quarterfinals before losing out to Argentina, the eventual champions, in the semi-finals. Yeah.
Bueno,
But
dice que
I think Italy national team right now consists of mostly, I don't know whether is it favoritism, but it consists mostly of like EMT and TCL. But sort of we don't see much success in with TCL, in the international scene. So maybe they can reconsider other managers, in the other crew. Because I think beside Revenge, I think the Sadifiga is also one of the better Italian crew right now. Yeah. But if they just only focus on players from EMT, even though EMT is very strong, but if they just focus on players with EMT and TCL, I don't think they can really advance much further. Yeah.
Bueno, dice que Australia el año pasado en el Mundial le ganó a Italia, que todos los italianos de Revenge lo felicitaron a él por haberles ganado y que el año pasado Italia se había quedado en cuartos de final y que nada, que la selección de Italia de OSM la conforman puros managers de Elements, de Clan y Sadifiga. Que son los que por lo general más componen la selección de Italia.
Claro. Está bien.
Okay. The next question is: 3 managers would you like to bring to Revenge?
3 managers. Actually, there are a number of managers which I would like to bring to Revenge. Actually, there's a lot of world-class manager outside. But if 3 managers, I like to bring in. One of it I would like to bring in back to Revenge is Murat PER from Turkey. Yeah, Murat.
Yes, for Turkey.
Because he was once with us in Revenge, and his performance, and his commitment to the game is absolutely, terrific. So, I enjoy playing with him a lot. And then I was actually quite gutted and quite disappointed when he left Revenge. Yeah. So now he's in IDA and he's one of our main rival. Yeah. But a couple of time, before that he said he wanted to join back like Techno Raid when he left, and while he was in Techno Raid, we tried to ask him whether does he want to come back? Eventually he say no, but shortly after we see him join Ineos. Yeah, so we didn't really further try to ask him to return. Because I believe that if people want to return, eventually, they will return to revenge. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the first one. Maybe you translate first, and then I'll think of another two more. Yeah.
Ujú. Bueno, dice que un manager que siempre le gustó tener y que incluso lo tuvo y que le gustaría tenerlo de vuelta es un manager turco llamado Murat TPDR 2805, que él estuvo un tiempo en Revenge, pero que en el tiempo que estuvo jugó terrible. Y al final
Terriblemente
terminó
Bien, supongo. Ah, no, mal. Ah, jugó mal.
mal. Y que bueno, después abandonó el grupo y se fue a Idios Assassins, pero que le gustaría tenerlo a él de vuelta y que ahora mismo no se le viene a la cabeza otros dos managers que le gustaría tener en Revenge.
Gilder Morales.
Do you like Gilder Morales in Revenge?
Oh, absolutely welcome him.
Desi-
Because in Revenge actually, most of them are Europeans. There's only very few from the American region. I think Eduardo, you're only one of it. Sometimes we play in civil sports competition. It requires South American sim time for the current CC round
Yes.
2, Rafael Mas is sacrificing to play
Yes,
in South American time, and then he
it's
need to
very
wake up
late.
every time at 2:45 a.m. Then when he wake up at 2:45 a.m., it will be usually 8:45 a.m. while I'm at work. Then usually we will discuss over what the opponent will be setting the tactics, and then what formation that we should play and which player we should rest. So really lots of commitment, and then it's very difficult, I know, for them Europeans to play in South
Yes.
American server. So that's why a lot of Europeans, they don't join the South American crew, or like when there is a battle between European and South America, they will say, need to stick to the European sim time, and that's one
Yes.
reason. Yeah. So, but
Yes.
if Eudor Morales want to join us, I mean, I'm always welcome. But I don't think that he, as a Lobos Negros crew boss, will want to leave his crew, right?
Bueno, dice que cualquier manager sudamericano en Revenge tiene las puertas abiertas, que ahora mismo hay muchos managers europeos y que en CC nos está costando, porque por el tema de, tú sabes, el horario americano, que para los europeos es muy tarde, que incluso el líder Rafael Mas en CC está alineando su liga simula a las 2 de la mañana, 2, 3 de la mañana por lo general, y que es muy difícil porque no hay managers sudamericanos, nada más yo, y para ese tipo de torneos la verdad que es muy difícil, pero que cualquier manager sudamericano que esté interesado tiene las puertas abiertas.
Que mande el currículum. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Eduardo, you gotta tell Pato that we wait for him to come.
¿Qué?
We wait for him to leave. We wait for him to leave last election to come to Revenge.
Yes.
Que algo me está diciendo a mí, pero no sé qué.
Que te va a mandar el currículum para que entres a Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the second manager that I would like to see in Revenge, but I think it's very wishful thinking on our part, is Yosoril from Indonesia, from Krupuk. Yeah.
Yes.
Krupuk.
So this guy, one of the best manager around in Asia, or maybe in the world right now. He has, I think, reached like great. I think he has reached like the last few rounds in IWC, and individually in Krupuk, they have done a fantastic job, winning CCW over the past 2 seasons, and also for the recent winner of the recent winner of WCC as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And then because there was once last CCW, I was in the same league with him. So Indonesia, while I was waking up at like 3 or 4 a.m. for every match sim, he will always be online. So I think Indonesia, time zone is I think should be GMT plus 8 or plus 9. So maybe it is also 3 or 4 a.m. over at their at Indonesia. So I know the commitment and the commitment they simply put to the game is unreal, and he's a very great manager as well. Yeah. So but I don't think that we will be able to get him into revenge. Yeah. So right now maybe I think I'll be the only Asian in revenge.
Yeah, this Krupuk was the underdogs in the tournament. No one expected that Crew was champion in WCC.
¿Qué?
Bueno, dice,
You want to translate?
¿A mí me preguntaste? Ah, no.
no, yo le dije que básicamente que Krupuk fueron los underdogs del torneo, que nadie se esperaba que ellos quedaran campeones en WCC.
Ah, en Krupuk.
Porque me estaba ahí diciendo de un manager, no escuché el nombre, de Krupuk, que
Sí, dijo que era bueno.
básicamente sí, que era bueno, que ganó como 5 de 6 ligas
Sí.
en WCC
Mirá.
y
Bueno.
que nada, que es capaz de, que eso, la gente de ese grupo es capaz de quedarse despierto a las 3 o 4 de la mañana para alinear en OSM y que nada, que esos chicos están locos.
Decile que necesito. Fíjate, poné tu traductor, no sé. Decile que necesito que me diga quiénes son los mejores de Krupuk, porque la selección, digamos, nosotros jugamos contra Krupuk ahora en Star Cup. No sé cómo vas a traducir eso, pero
Bueno,
I think there's one more manager. The third manager will be Alberto, yeah, from the
Yeah.
Costa Rica national team, yeah. Alberto, because he was also in revenge,
Padilla.
and I have a very good friendship with him actually. Yeah, so we maintain still a very good relationship now, even though now he's in IDA. But you know, he's one of my better friends in OSM, a very nice guy also. So you know, I always had fun playing with him last time while he was in revenge. So you know, if you know we could get him back, you know, it's good. But now I think he's also in IDA, and I don't think that he will leave because he had a very good friendship with the crew boss Orkun, Mangetsu, yeah,
yes.
over there as well. Yeah.
Bueno, aquí básicamente habló de Alberto Badilla
sí.
y dice que
Que un
que
gay.
nada, que él
Badilla is gay.
que bueno, que sí, que tuvo un tiempo en Revenge, que se lleva bien con él y que bueno, que también se lleva bien con Orkun, Magnetsu 35,
De
que
Ilios.
ahora es el líder de Ilios Assassins. Ok, Pato said que he need to tell him the best managers of Krupuk because his crew, la selección, playing against Krupuk in Star Cup.
You mean when Krupuk play against last selection?
Yes, la selección in Star Cup.
In Circle. So you mean in WCC or?
No, Star Cup.
Oh, Star Cup.
Star Cup.
Star Cup.
Okay, so is that a competition like when Krupuk play against last selection?
La selección, yes.
Is in
La selección plays against Krupuk in Star Cup.
Okay. So have the battle started or not started yet? Or
Pero
Te pregunto si empezó o la batalla, empezó la batalla o todavía no ha empezado.
todavía no empezó, pero que me mande igual al privado, decirle, ahora no hace falta porque
He said the battle for the
WhatsApp.
moment no was started. He need the list of the best manager of
in
Krupuk.
Krupuk. I think just hold on, let me just take a look. Who is
no,
in
pero
Krupuk.
después.
Ah,
Okay.
no,
After.
Oh, in after.
In WhatsApp,
Okay.
in WhatsApp.
I think
In WhatsApp.
Krupuk, there is their crew boss and you know Yosarel. These two should be the best Indonesian manager right now. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I don't have much details over them because really we don't play with them yet 5v5. So actually we might have an opportunity to play with them if let's say that we beat Golden Boys in the CCW Super Cup And if Krupuk beat Eidos Assassin, then I think it will be the first time that we are facing them 5v5 in Apps Battle. Yeah.
Yes.
But up till now, we haven't got the opportunity to really play with them yet. Yeah. But but Jerry Wanda, Yosoril should be one of the two best Indonesian manager in Krupuk. Yeah.
Bueno, dice que tendría que investigar más a fondo, pero
Sí.
que de por sí conoce al líder del grupo Grupo, que para él es uno o el mejor de Indonesia o está uno de los mejores. Y que nada, que dice también que como que tengas cuidado con Grupo, que andan motivados, que ganaron WCC,
Sí.
que le habían ganado, no recuerdo en cuál torneo, a un grupo llamado Golden Boys, que creo que es de Turquía, y también le llegaron a ganar a Eidos Assassins. Yo creo que se refiere a Clash of Titans. Un torneo.
Ah, sí. Bueno, nosotros también ganamos el Hey LBH, decirle, boludo. Tenemos la poronga así, decirle.
He said la selection won CDG and LBH tournaments of the Spanish community.
My dick.
Our selection is very
My dick.
strong.
Save
But
your-
La Selection has always been one of the very strong crew in the Hispanic community, like La Selection. That's why I'm not surprised, that his, Pato crew is so good. Yeah.
Yes. Bueno, dice que
Sí.
yo creo que entendiste que la selección es uno de los grupos más fuertes de la comunidad hispana y que nada, que son muy fuertes de la mano de Pato. De la mano de Pato.
Obvio.
Okay, the next question is a little polemic. Tell us about how was your participation in the World Nations Cup 2023 and what is the topic of the controversy? Australia has been cancelled.
Yeah. So I would say, moving back before the WNC actually, between Eugene and I believe Vishnu, which is Vishnu. I forget his in-game nickname. Vishnu should be he's Eidos Assassin. Yeah. So between. Yeah, I forget his in-game name really because he's now still part of the WNC community, yeah, as the organizing community, but I cannot remember his in-game name right now. Yeah, so there was actually a competition organized, it's called AAOC, so African, I think Asian Oceania competition. They organized this competition before the WNC. Then prior to that, because there was a WNC 22, so eventually for my case, right, back then in WNC 22, the organizer was actually Apocalypse, which is Paolo. So I told him that, hey, I don't think that Singapore has a chance to represent to have a representative in WNC. So I asked him whether I do have some links and some ties to Australia. So am I able to represent Australia? And he told me that there shouldn't be any issue. I just need to talk to Ricky Hyman and Eugene. Yeah. So once I talked to them, they said that they were happy to welcome me into the Australia crew. And of course, I joined the Australian crew. But back then, I was not very active in the Australian national team because simply Paulo was once in revenge, and then he said that AAOC they do not want to recognize it as like a competition that will eventually replace WNC. So I didn't really play much in AAOC with Australia national team. So eventually I only played one game in AAOC, but back then I think like we beat Team India, but eventually we didn't qualify for the latest stage, which I think Libya was the eventual champions. Yeah. So then breaking back to WNC 23, right?
One moment.
Yep.
¿Cómo?
Un momento.
Traducí Edu hasta ahí y que siga después, porque si no
Sí,
es muy largo.
sí, es muy largo. Dice que, bueno, que todo empezó en 2022.
22.
Que, bueno, que como no habían muchas selecciones, por así decirlo, de lo que es Asia y Oceanía, como buscando la clasificatoria, o sea, intentando buscar selecciones para lo que es la clasificatoria al WNC del 2023.
Ujú.
Bueno, que un manager llamado Paniyat, no sé si lo conoces,
Sí, Panilla, sí.
que es de la India, le había convencido de bueno, traer a un manager de Idios Assassins que se llamaba Eugene,
Ujú.
que según dice él es de África y que bueno, que todo comenzó alrededor del año 2022 cuando el organizador de WNC era Apocalypse 4
Sí.
y que nada, que todo fue con el fin de intentar buscar selecciones para competir pues en lo
Complementarias,
que es
digamos.
complementar la
Claro.
clasificatoria al WNC de 2023, pero que nadie se esperaba que Australia iba a
Claro.
clasificar, iba a llegar tan lejos y
Y
bueno,
de
y
ahí
hubo
que
sí
siga.
los rumores y que incluso estaban investigando de que un manager que sí era originario de Australia que se llamaba Ricky Hindman, estaban dudando como que era como que el único ahí que sí era australiano y aún así lo estaban investigando de
Justo,
que no era australiano.
justo a él, que era el único que era australiano, le decían que no era australiano. Qué boludo. Ahí decirle que sí, decirle que sí.
Continue.
Oh, okay.
You
Sorry, I wanted to say sorry to Vishnu because I forget about his in-game nickname at the moment. Vishnu is Paniaf in OSM.
yes.
EDOS as well, yeah. So okay, so then back in WNC 23, because Apocalypse I think handed over the sort of the organizing committee to Orkan, right? To
Yes.
Mangatsu, and then Mangatsu take it up. So the thing is, okay, then we had to register Australia team. But when we submitted the registration, then there wasn't any issues with the submission as well. Then but before that I am not really before that I'm not really on very good. Not I would say that I wouldn't know much about the Australian national team. Yeah.
Mhm.
So except for Ricky Hyman and Ravi, but I do know that because Ravi was with me in the championship. So I do know that actually he is not Australian, he's actually a Nepalese. Yeah. But
Yes.
the thing is when we submit the lineup, nobody say anything. But if let's say that they do not want to allow, Ravi, or do not want to allow us participate, then they should have actually made a decision to remove us from the start. But there was no decision to remove us from the start because like Ravi has been playing with like Team Australia for quite has been playing in the Australian national team for quite some time. So I don't know whether is it because they think that Australia team might be actually a feeder team, so just come in for participation and wouldn't win much things, and they didn't expect us to really go far. But once in the Asian qualifier, when we beat Indonesia, when we beat Saudi Arabia, and then eventually Indonesia was kicked out. Indonesia is one of the top favorite to qualify with WNC, the top 32. So once they were actually eliminated, I think that's when there were some noises about Australia being the World 5. Yeah. So but actually but the more they were saying about us being the World 5 and making a lot of comments and memes about Team Australia, the more motivated we were. So actually once we get into the the WNC the group stages, right, the final 32, we actually were very motivated to like prove people wrong. And then we were saying that what if a team not being recognized by the organization were to win this WNC. So everyone were very committed. And then even though we had some European sim time as well, in Australia I think it could be like 4 to 5 a.m. Some of them they woke up to to set the tactics. So everyone was really committed. And then eventually we had a magical run to the top 4 of WNC. But this time round Scout is actually retired. So Scout was actually one of the Australian was actually in the Australian national team previously playing for the Renegades. Yeah. So By Scout has actually retired. So actually I checked with Auckland whether we can participate in WNC and whether Ravi Rajan can participate still in Australian national team, but he denied us entry. And then furthermore, I think he say that okay, I don't see that you have any links as an Australian. Then like he denied me entry as well. But whether people have links to Australia, he cannot determine just from the looks of a person. Yeah. And then I think that, you know, if let's say that he want to ask for like passport credentials or anything to provide, I mean, it is very difficult to enforce these rules as well, and it's not just to enforce it onto the Australian national team. Yeah.
Ok, bueno.
A ver si te acordás,
continuando.
a ver si te acordás. Esto es una prueba, a ver si te
Sí, me
acordás.
acuerdo. Sí me acuerdo de algo.
Australia.
Kangaroos.
Socceroos,
Kangaroos.
Socceroos.
Ok. Dice que nada, que continuando en el 2023, Apocalypse 4, que era el organizador de WNC, dejó la organización y que quedó a cargo Magnetsu, que en ese momento estaban jugando las eliminatorias, que le habían ganado a India, si mal no recuerdo, le habían ganado a Indonesia, que es de top 3 de las mejores selecciones de Asia, y también le habían ganado a Arabia Saudita.
Arabia.
Y que, bueno, que cuando comenzó habló con Ravi Ranjan, que fue su compañero de grupo en The Championship, que él es originario de Nepal, pues, y que nada, que lo metió en la selección para jugar el Mundial del año siguiente, ya que la gran mayoría, como eran de Asia, le costaba un poco el horario, pues, a diferencia del europeo, que por lo general simulaba a las 3 4 de la mañana, y que como que alguien no dijo el nombre, conocía a Ravi Ranjan, se dio cuenta bueno, de que no era australiano nada, y bueno, le contaron el chisme a Orkun, y que bueno, que después del mundial, cuando terminó el mundial, que quedaron en el cuarto lugar,
Sí.
le dijeron como que ya lo que es el Ravi Ranjan y otros managers de Australia
No pueden jugar.
ya no pueden jugar, pero y que a ellos obviamente no les supo bien porque, o sea, habían hecho un esfuerzo bastante complicado a lo largo de todo el trayecto, que no fue fácil estar alineando a las 3 4 de la mañana, y que también no dijo nombres, pero como que hay alguien que también como que no lo dejaba, como que fue un poco injusto el trato, porque hay managers de otros países de Europa como que no son del mismo país y que aún así participan.
Bueno. Bueno. ¿Se puede saber quién es?
Also, there are further things I want to add on because, you know, they call us Australia World 5, World 5. I mean, I don't deny it being World 5 because, you know, our 5 main players were located in a different region. I think Bicecup is in South America, Ravi is in North America, Ricky is in England, I mean, Singapore, and Marians and Jamie, they're in Australia. So it's technically not wrong for us. I mean, not wrong for them to call us the World 5. But then I think there are a certain number of things that they actually assume. Like, for example, like Ricky Hyman, they assume him to be English. He's actually not English. He's just working in England. So I think like a lot of things like they are assuming just based on the, you know, the phone country code itself. But it's a irony because when we see, you know, some of the national teams captain, when I went to check their country code, they don't belong to that national. They don't belong to the country the country phone code. So how does he like determine whether they are part of this particular nation, even though they don't have this country code? But for Australia, okay, Ricky Hyman is his telephone code is located in English in England. He must be English, not Australian. So I think like there are certain things which they intentionally pick up on us because we were successful. Yeah. You know, if we were one of those like you know, feeder national team, when we went out in the probably the qualifiers, then nobody will have said anything about us because you know, the organizer of this WNC tournament was also the organizer of like AAOC, so they organized it together with Eugene. So
Yes.
so once, you know, like once they given the approval for us to go ahead, then they shouldn't have actually commented us, and I don't think that it is professional because I think one of their organizer, Arash, actually like make certain mean comments about us. But at the first place, they were the people that granted us entry to WNC. Yeah. And then
So-
I know that for fact that because Ravi was also part of Australian national team, and at the time he was still in Eidos Assassin, they didn't treat him very well inside their own chat as well. Yeah, and that's the reason why we had him now in revenge. So it's sort of a
Yes.
good thing for us that happened also, because like I think for him, they don't recognize him as a very good player. Yeah, but I
Mhm.
think he is playing with a chip on his shoulder, so he is considered like very committed to the game as well. Yeah, so eventually I think like it is their loss for for eventually letting Ravi miss because of for letting Ravi leave because of this WNC situation.
Yes. Ok, bueno, dices, continuando, que sí, que tenían managers que no eran originarios, como él que es de Singapur, o Ravin Ranjan que es de Nepal, pero que ahora mismo está en Norteamérica, me imagino que Estados Unidos, y que, bueno, que durante el transcurso también fue acusado el que te dije, Ricky Hyman, de que no era australiano, de que era de Inglaterra, solo por el simple hecho de que hablaba bien inglés. Y que bueno, que ese problema de Australia que fue cancelada en el WNC fue de una forma poco ética, y que los organizadores en ese aspecto con ellos no fue para nada profesional. Incluso le trajo muchos problemas a Ravi Ranjan, que en ese tiempo jugaba en Eidos Assassins, y por ese problema se tuvo que ir del grupo, tuvo un tiempo fuera, y que bueno, que ahora que Cosmo lo trajo ahora a Revenge.
Che, ¿y qué? ¿Sabe qué jugadores más hay que no son de su selección, digamos, que no son de ese país? ¿Como cuáles, por ejemplo? No sé cómo le puedo dar más la pregunta.
You know that more players who are not from that country that he represented.
I cannot really confirm because I see like maybe some some members from El Salvador, their country code actually don't belong to like El Salvador, they belong maybe to the United States. So like it's very difficult to like for me, because I don't really communicate much with people outside of like Revenge, so I cannot make like certain judgment on whether are they like truly representing their are they really truly representing their national team or not. But in the first place, if let's say that they want in the first place, national team can be just easily changed in OSM, and if they really do want to pack a player to the national team itself, then maybe like they can consider like asking like maybe game basics to change, such that like, people cannot just simply change the national flag in OSM. But if let's say that people can simply easily change the national flag in OSM, then it's very difficult to determine whether is the player like truly from this country or not. Yeah, and I don't think that them as the WNC organizer, I don't think that they are doing checks to see whether does the person truly belong to that country. The thing with Australia is that just nice we were known, yeah, because Ravi himself is in IDA, and most of the organizer are from IDA as well. But like, they know that he's a Nepalese, yeah. And then previously Eugene is also not Australian. He's I think that he's from a South African
Yes.
country. I can't remember which country. Yeah. So then like these are the people that are always very loud and vocal in the OSM community. So they really know their nationality, and provided myself my flag, I always put the Singapore national flag. So that's why like when we change to play for Australia, then they do know that you are not part of Australian, you are not truly an Australian. But there are other teams or other national team whereby they have players. So because only in the WNC representative chat are the captains who are representing their country, so they can see the country code. But anything other than that, like are they vetting whether this particular player is it truly from a country, or is it truly representing their own country, or are they actually from other country? There's no way for him to vet as well. Yeah.
Yes. Ok, dice que, bueno, que sí, que en Australia había managers que vivían en El Salvador y en Estados Unidos. Uno de esos era Ravi Ranjan, que, bueno, como te dije anteriormente, él era originario de Nepal, pero que está viviendo en Estados Unidos, igual que otro manager llamado Eugene, que no recuerda de qué país es, pero que él tampoco es australiano, que es, eh,
Uno
que él es de
África.
África. Que es de África y que, bueno, que literalmente fue por Ravi Rayan que lo descubrieron, porque, como dije, uno de los organizadores de WNC es de Idios, y que él en ese momento él formaba parte del grupo y él sabía que no era nada australiano, y que, bueno, que no, la forma en que Australia fue cancelada no fue justa, ya que en otros países de Europa los managers tranquilamente se pueden estar cambiando la bandera de un país a otro, y que no, eso los organizadores del WNC no lo revisan. No es como acá, por ejemplo,
Acá nos
en la
rompen
Comunidad
el
Hispana,
culo,
que
boludo.
los revisan, exacto. Y que nada, que en esos países, como obviamente hay algunos países europeos europeos, africanos, asiáticos,
No
que
revisa.
no tienen su propia comunidad, solo juegan con la selección, y nada, que esas partes como que de que está cambiándose la bandera a otro, esas
Es
partes ahí
normal.
no los revisan, también no revisan si son multicuentas o no, y que,
Mira.
y que, y que con ellos sí los tuvieron ahí cortitos, o sea, los estuvieron revisando, y que bueno, que quizás también dice que quizás no fue, lo que hicieron no estuvo bueno, pues, de jugar con otro país que no es el suyo, pero que se debe hacer justicia que por ambos lados, que
Tiene que ser
también
todos.
otros países
¿Sí?
eh, no revisan nada, incluso dijo un nombre, no dijo un nombre, pero que uno de los organizadores del WNC literalmente en su selección tienen a varios managers que no son de su país, que incluso le dice que se cambien la bandera y ya está.
El propio organizador.
No dijo nombre, pero literalmente básicamente dijo eso.
Nah, boludo. ¿Quién? Que diga el nombre.
Do you know the organization of the World Nations Cup that he count with players with other countries that no was the properly country?
So, do I know whether are there any countries, playing with players who does not actually belong to the country, right? That's what you mean, is it?
Mhm.
Actually, I'm not too sure as well whether there are any countries, whether there are any like players representing the country who are not truly from the country itself. Yeah, but I do. But it's very difficult to enforce these checks. So I think that there probably could be one or two players, because I know that for Russia like national team itself, it's not fully Russian. There are like some Azerbaijans. There are some like Ukrainians as well representing the national team. Yeah, but then like they should be permitted to represent the national team as long as, let's say, that they have represented Russia from the start. Yeah, so that's why because if otherwise, based on his logic, right, in football we will never have like Laporte representing Spain, or maybe like we will never have like Lenormand representing Spain, because they will be representing their birth country, France, instead. Yeah, so that's why I think that if let's say that a player has committed to the country to play for the tournament itself, maybe like they can give some exceptions to it to allow the player to play, because like nobody in the right mind, right, without any like actually like nobody would want to play for other countries, yeah, if they don't have some certain links towards the country itself. Yeah.
Ok, dice que bueno, que básicamente hay managers de Rusia que se cambian para Ucrania o Bielorrusia, y también con Azerbaiyán junto con Turquía, y que nada, que eso me parece justo, que incluso puso ejemplos de fútbol en la vida real, como por ejemplo en España, que está jugando Lamine Yamal, Lenormand, que no son españoles.
Claro.
Y igual también tomó como por ejemplo la selección de Francia, y bueno, literalmente dijo eso, que si en la vida real pasa eso, ¿por qué no SM no?
Sí, también. Sí, es verdad, pero ¿por qué a nosotros acá no podemos yo no puedo, no se puede hacer nada, boludo?
Mm,
Y entonces, o sea, se deja todo o no se deja directamente, boludo. Si
sí,
no, está
y
mal,
no
es
sé,
injusto.
But
in the
you know,
community,
like
in the Spanish community, all South American and Central American countries, they check everything uh, because uh, in other countries, in other Europeans and Africans country, will not check nothing because in the Spanish community are more strict. It's very
I think there is more maintain and control in the Spanish community because I was actually speaking to Udo on this whole WNC controversy. So he was telling me that there was like certain control over in the Spanish community to make sure that there is no one who is actually trying to like fake their nationality. Yeah, but you know, like we are talking about like the globalization of the world now, and then I would not be surprised if let's say there are South Americans, you know, moving to Europeans for better like career opportunities, and if they let's say that they are playing the game of OSM when they want to represent the country, and they should be permitted to do so without like you know having to go through like checks of passport or
eh,
things like this. Yeah,
bueno,
you know they
básicamente
call us they call you know the previous Australia team World Five. I wouldn't actually deny that lah. Yeah, because we do know that okay you know Ravi and Vice Cup they're actually like not Australians. But they were actually like pulled in by Eugene to play for the team Australia. But the thing is that if let's say that they had actually like permitted us to play, and as an organization itself, they like they shouldn't be like you know making comments about the nationality of our national team. Yeah, but eventually you know I'm glad that they do actually make this type of comments because like otherwise like none of us would be actually motivated to play the for the national team at all. Just because like they make certain comments and we wanted to prove like everyone wrong, so like we become like very committed to the game. Because if you certainly you take a look on the team itself, other than myself and maybe Ravi, but before that like Ricky Hyman, Vice Cup were not really like well known in the community as well. And then Mariams was like not playing. Mariams and Jamie they were not like playing in any. They were not well known in the community. Yeah, but if we as a player we are very committed, then of course we will be good. So actually the fine line between like whether are we good or not is whether all depends on the commitment of the players. Yeah, so it's certainly like you know Sido Pali he did share with me like for their Dutch national team because they are all playing in the Dutch servers, so they are actually like not sharing the there isn't much sharing of like communication or tactics throughout their whole national team. That's why like they were not like as successful as it is.
ok. Bueno, básicamente dice que sí, que sabe que en la comunidad hispana son más estrictos a la hora de hacer el checkout a comparación de las otras selecciones del resto del mundo, que tranquilamente tú puedes tener como, yo qué sé, dice como un mes, 2 meses jugando en el OSM y tranquilamente puedes participar. Y lo mismo eso de cambiarse la bandera, que uno tranquilamente allá en Europa y en África y en Asia, tú puedes cambiar la bandera de otro país y puedes jugar para dicha selección. Que bueno, que es lo mismo que pasó con, como ya dije anteriormente, con Ravi Ranjan, que, que lo descubrieron y por ende fue que cancelaron a la selección de Australia.
Claro.
Y dice que si a Ravi Ranjan lo cancelaron, ¿por qué a las otras selecciones
No,
que tienen gente de otros países no? Igual lo mismo con el capitán de Australia, Ricky Hyman, que también fue acusado de no ser australiano, porque tenían duda de que era de que era
Inglaterra.
inglés, Inglaterra, exacto. Y que bueno, que también también dijo algo como que en las demás selecciones, que ellos en la selección de ellos nada más eran como 5 managers y que por lo general, a diferencia de otros, como que tú sabes, ¿no? Que en los grupos se comparten las tácticas y
Claro.
bueno, ahí en la selección nacional no. Pero bueno, que ellos en el Mundial tuvieron que hacer eso porque no todos los managers de Australia, originarios de Australia, eran competitivos.
Claro.
Y que nada, que eso de alguna forma u otra sirvió para haber llegado así tan lejos.
Y sí, y sí. Bueno, la última, Edu, la última,
Ya.
será la que vos quieras. Para hoy, después sigue la segunda parte. Pero por lo menos para hoy.
Bueno, la otra pregunta es, the last question is, what tournament do you have left to win and which one would you like to win?
Personally, I would like to have an opportunity to take part in IWC because actually I was checking with Civo Sports on how I could actually represent, to take part in IWC to have an opportunity because I certainly haven't had much competition, based on the individual itself. But as a revenge crew itself, the competition that is, which we have not been able to win is WCC. So definitely the competition which I wanted to win most now is WCC because other than that, most of the competition like Italian Championship, Clash of the Titans, Crew Championship, we have actually and CCW. I think these are Star Cup. So we actually won all of these before, yeah. And then we have also reached the first in App Battle in 2022. So the only trophy which is missing is WCC, and WCC is considered a sort of a major and a priority for us, which this year we were eliminated by Balompi Latino. So hopefully next year we can be able to win the championship and steal the championship from Krupuk. Yeah.
Yes. Bueno, dice que básicamente desde que llegó a Revenge ha ganado todo, ganó Italian Championship, Clash of Titans, Star Cup, CC, pero que la única que le falta con el grupo es el WCC, que este año la meta, el objetivo era ganarlo, pero que bueno, que lastimosamente cayeron derrotados con Balompié Latino y que bueno, y que ese mismo año el WCC se lo llevó fue Krupuk, el grupo indonesio Krupuk. Cuando déjame hacer antes una última pregunta que yo sé que
Hacer lo que vos quieras,
muchos
boludo.
de los argentinos les va a gustar.
Metele,
Están
vos metele.
esperando. Ok. Nelson M91, the coach of Argentina national team, said,
Oh, Nelson, okay.
One moment.
eh,
One moment.
he's come out. He's gone. The shirt of the Argentina national team in online soccer manager.
Oh, is that the national team jersey? Oh, that's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, Nelson.
National
He
team
said
jersey.
Yes.
That's brilliant. That's
He's
fantastic.
the teacher.
Actually, I was also
teacher
hoping.
of the Argentina national team in online soccer
National
manager. He gave it to him Nelson M91.
Oh, that's the shirt from Nelson M91. Yeah. Actually,
He's
having
the-
a shirt that's representing like the crew or the national team for OSM is really. Now that I see, Pato carry the jersey, is really like very beautiful. Actually, someone I think spoke to create this type of shirt for Revenge, but I think like because we are more international, it's very difficult to organize and ship out all these the shirt to our members is maybe more difficult. But if let's say that there's an opportunity, of course, like one day you want to try it as well, I think it will be very cool.
Bueno, dice que sí, que la camiseta de Argentina que te dio Nelson está fantástica, que a él también le gustaría un día organizar algo con los de Revenge, pero que obviamente al ser un grupo internacional es muy difícil que eso suceda. Ok, the last question is from Nelson M91, the coach of Argentina national team. What did you think of that battle between Argentina and Australia in the semifinals of World Nations Cup 2023?
Wow. I think that was actually a bittersweet feeling because I think for the first 5 or 6 match day, we were actually leading them by quite significantly. I think it was quite a one-sided battle, which we were winning the battle until like
Yes.
the 5th or 6th day, whereby we had one of our this Australian member. I remember it was like Marian's. So then he couldn't really, like be very committed to the battle because of his like university studies. So eventually, I think that there was a bit less commitment, and then after that, then things started to change, and the type of the battle started to change, and then they win it. Yeah, but congrats to them because we lost to the ultimate eventual winner of WNC. Yeah, but they are really tough opponent. I believe that previously the whole lineup should be consist of Nelson, 27 Gonza, 27 Gonza, 27, I think Rafael Kuna, and the YouTuber Alex Di Martin, and another, I think is I can't really remember his in-game
Atiende
nickname,
Papuku.
but they were, yeah, correct. Yeah, so they were really a very good, bunch of players, and we played with Rafael Kuna before in Revenge, so we do know of his like great ability and commitment to the game, but is losing to them, is sort of, we were always the underdogs, against Italy, against Iran, and against Argentina. We were always the underdogs, but I think like we provided them a very competitive battle. Yeah. So I can see like we are, in terms of like the fame of the players, we are not really very famous, but eventually we managed to like give Argentina a very tough battle, and credits to the Australia team, and also credits to the Argentina team as well. Yeah, but it's a pity because previously they had like Rafael Kuna, and he's a very good manager, but because of some things that happened in the recent like WCC, he was like suspended, and then I think he eventually left the game. I don't know whether he's back with another nickname or not. Yeah, but actually he is one of a well-respected manager that I have played with previously. Yeah. Very
Okay,
better to see him just like moving out of the game in such a manner.
sí. Bueno, dice que sí, que la batalla versus Argentina en la semifinal fue muy dura, que estaban como en las 6, hasta la fecha 6, no, tuvieron, la fecha 6 la estaban ganando
Sí.
bastante, o sea, la tenían bastante controlada, pero como que a partir de la fecha 6, un manager llamado Marians, no recuerdo el resto de su nick, como que dejó de comunicarse con el grupo debido a que estaba enredado con lo que son los estudios y la universidad, y que bueno, que la estrategia que ellos usaron en la batalla contra Argentina era literalmente cambiar al segundo la táctica, y que bueno, que con este chico, como estaba ocupado con la universidad, no podía, y que tenía que cambiar,
Mucho tiempo.
tenía que alinear antes. Y que nada, que ya ellos, hasta las semifinales, ya ellos se sentían ya para ellos era ya un logro, porque eran como, no, nadie daba nada por ellos,
Sí.
y que haber llegado a semifinales y competirle ante Argentina, que tenía muy buenos managers, fue un logro bastante bueno para ellos, que fue como más o menos de los underdogs del torneo, y que sí, que Argentina tenía muy buenos managers, como lo era Nelson, lo era Gonza, lo era Rafa, el youtuber Alex de Martin, como dijo,
Y atiende.
y atiende. Y que sí, que los managers, de los 5 managers, eran muy buenos, que armaban muy bien los equipos, y que nada, que también conocían mucho a Rafa Cuña por lo
Revenge.
de por Revenge, y que bueno, que también a Rafa, él, lo decepcionó bastante Rafa, cuando ocurrió todo del escándalo del WCC, donde los de HDF, literalmente estaban dopando a sus jugadores, pero que sí, que fue
El
una
doping.
batalla que doping,
Doping.
pero que fue una batalla que él dice que ha sido una de las batallas que más ha disfrutado jugar, y que bueno, que cayeron fue ante un gran rival.
Good. Good.
Good.
Good. Ahora decirle nomás que por hoy, o sea, la primera parte ya está. Y continuamos cuando Gilles pueda. Porque hay más
Okay.
preguntas,
Yes. We have more questions, but the first part was ended today, and for the next time, when Gilder was a good internet, a good connection, we continue to the second part.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decirle que
Right.
voy a dormir ahora. Que le están esperando.
We go to take the nap. To
Sleep.
go
We're going to sleep. Oh, because it was in the morning. So you all watch football until not enough sleep, you see.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to stay up to watch the Euros.
Mhm.
After that, then maybe continue the Copa America. Yeah.
Yes.
Right now, I have to continue for my OSM sim or CCW.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, we this CCW we are actually very motivated because it's been some time since we win it. So we were actually, I think there was some kind of some kind of quarrel between manager BL with I think Mangetsu and Jeffro Davis over this edition of CCW. So we were actually every one of us very motivated to try to win this edition. Yeah.
Yes.
¿Qué dijo?
Bueno, dice que sí, que ahorita se irá a dormir, que está esperando una liga de CSW que le simula ahora, que si mal no estoy creo que se enfrenta, que están ahí intentando conseguir el título, ya que la anterior edición se la ganó Idiot Assassins, que quedaron en empate en puntos, pero Idiot al final quedó campeón por la diferencia de gol. Y que nada, que va a esperar la simulación de OSM para irse a dormir y que va a esperar también acostarse tarde para ver los partidos de la Copa América.
¿Cómo? Pero si falta como... ¿Cuántas horas? ¿Como 10 horas? No, 7 horas, ¿no?
Sí.
O sea, se levanta
Sí,
temprano.
sí.
Se levanta temprano.
Las
Entonces.
Yes. Sí,
Mira.
se levanta temprano.
Good. Bueno, decirle muchas gracias. Un gusto. Uno de los mejores M9, decirle, de OCM. Y sí.
Yes.
Y muchas gracias. Y nos estamos viendo la próxima. Hablamos por WhatsApp.
Pato said, thank you very much. It was and be an honor to be part in the interview. One of the best G9 in OSM. Y well, talking. He was waiting for the next time for the second part, and we talk in the chat of WhatsApp.
I would like to also thank Pato and thank Ilder for inviting me to this interview. Yeah. And I think like if let's say that I never accept the interview, nobody else, I don't think that anyone in Revenge has ever seen how I look like. So I think probably now I expose my face to the entire Revenge and the entire world. Yeah. But I would like to thank Pato and Ilder for inviting me. We can have an open conversation about anything. Yeah. In this game of OSM, we can actually like make friends outside our own country, outside our own border. I think it's amazing. Yeah. And to see someone else, to have the same passion as I do, I think is really great as well. Yeah. And also last but not least, thank you Eduardo for being the awesome translator for these interviews.
Thank you so much. Bueno, básicamente dice que está muy agradecido con la entrevista, que lo hayas invitado para la entrevista de hoy y que nada, que me dijo algo como que primera vez que me ve la cara, que,
sí, que
nunca me la había visto.
Vos. Hijo de puta.
Y que nada, que esto es lo que la parte buena de OSM, que este tipo de cosas hace a uno hacer más amistades, independientemente del país que sea, y que nada, que está muy agradecido por la entrevista y que está ansioso por la próxima parte.
Decirle que Eduardo es el siguiente como Cuti, porque tenés 19 años, decirle.
Pato said, I am the next Cosmo Cutie player because I was very young. I have 20 years old.
Children.
Of course, I think anyone with the commitment can become the best Go 9 or best Go 1, Go 3, Go 5. Yeah, as long as the commitment to the game is there, you know. Actually, for me, I'm just trying to, you know, farm for the nationality bonus, positional bonus for every match, and try to, you know, take advantage of all these advantages. Yeah. So the results show. So eventually, I think like if let's say that people stick to nationality positional bonus, they can always be the like best Go 1, Go 3, Go 5, Go 7, Go 9. Yeah.
Dice básicamente que no se considera como el mejor M9 o M1 del juego, pero que es de su agrado que le ganen estas cosas, que simplemente intenta dar lo mejor de sí y que siempre intenta ayudar al equipo lo que más sea posible para ganar las batallas y que bueno, que básicamente lo único que hace para que pueda ganar tantas ligas es que nada, tener todos los jugadores en su posición, tener 6 jugadores de la misma nacionalidad y que bueno, que eso lo ayuda a que quizás
El
sea uno de
bonus.
los mejores M9 del juego.
Claro, eso sí. Bueno, gracias Edu también. Y bueno, gracias Cosmo. Y
Gracias, Pablo.
nos estamos viendo en la próxima. Apago el. Chau.
Okay.
Good day. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Good night in Singapore.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.